Hey everyone, Katrina here, and today I'm going to teach you about the cast rule in trigonometry. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like these. Okay, let's dive in. So in my previous videos, I've been talking about different methods how to solve trigonometric equations using trig ratios and understanding tricks with like special triangles. But the cast rule is a very important component of solving a trig equation on a specified domain. So let's consider here a unit circle and write out our angle. So if we're considering that theta is some element of the domain between 0 and 2 pi. So 0 to 2 pi is going to represent a full rotation or a full circle. So starting at our rightmost side, we have our angle 0. Then we have pi over 2. Then we've got pi. Then we have 3 pi over 2. And then we go back to 2 pi. So this represents a full angle starting from our principal axis and then going counterclockwise around our unit circle, and this here is our theta. So what does the cast rule tell us? So the cast rule helps us determine which quadrants are positive or negative for a given ratio. So let's go ahead and write out our quadrants so we know exactly what we're talking about here. So we start in our top right corner, so this is quadrant 1, and then we go counterclockwise, so this is quadrant 2, then we go down, this over here is quadrant number 3, and then lastly in our bottom right, we have our quadrant number 4. So I've written out these letters over here. So starting in fourth quadrant, we have C, then moving counterclockwise, we have A, S, and then T. So this spells out cast. So this is a great acronym that we can use to memorize this rule. And again, like I said, it tells us which quadrants are going to have positive or negative ratios. So let's dive into this a bit further. So in quadrant 1, we have A. And what does A represent? Well, A stands for all. So that means all ratios, and meaning we've got our sine theta, cos theta, and we have tan theta. All of them are going to be positive in this quadrant. Moving on to the S side, that represents our sine theta. So that means that only the sine is going to be positive in this quadrant. T represents our tan theta, so that means only tan is going to be positive in this quadrant and all the other ratios are going to be negative. And lastly, C, I think you can guess what it will be, is cos theta, and that means that only cos theta is going to be positive in quadrant 4. So this is really good because when you're trying to solve problems, it might ask you, for example, let's just do like a little example on the side here. Just change the color for us. What if it says that we have sine theta equals to, let's say, 1 over root 2, okay? So here we can see that our ratio, that I'm going to highlight here in yellow, is this positive or negative. Well, we can see that this is a positive ratio. And if we're trying to solve for theta on this specified domain over here, we have to determine all the quadrants where this ratio can be found. Because if you were to ever plug it in on your calculator, it's simply going to give you usually the answer in quadrant 1. But we know that if we're considering a domain of a full unit circle, we're going to have probably at least 2 answers here. So here we can see that this ratio, 1 over root 2, is positive. So that means that sine is going to exist in quadrant 1 over here, as well as in quadrant 2. And knowing our ratios, which we learned previously, sine is y over r, which is also opposite over hypotenuse. So we know that our y value is 1. And we know that our radius or hypotenuse is root 2. And then if we fill out this special triangle, we would have a value of 1 here. And wait a second, on this side, we're on the negative side of the x-axis, so we're going to have negative 1 there. But we know that this negative 1 right over here that I'm circling is not going to impact our ratio because sine only deals with y and r, and those values are going to be positive in the first 2 quadrants. So there we go. We can solve for 2 values for theta. We can have our theta 1 over here, and we can find our theta 2 over there, and that all falls within our domain of 0 and 2 pi. So be sure that when you draw out your unit circle and your grid, always draw out your cast rule. It takes just barely a second, and that will help you determine where your ratios are going to be positive or negative and where you can find the values for your angle that you are looking for. If you enjoyed this video, please drop it a like and comment any questions that you have. More trig videos are coming up, so stay tuned and be sure to subscribe. See you next time.